Enough about David Bowie's crotch. There is no David Bowie's crotch in this because none of you rolled the College of Glamour Bard.
Ooh, is that what the Goblin King is?
100%.
Are we now starting a campaign to get Error to watch Labyrinth?
Are we sure that Leonardo doesn't have to...
You never know.
Anyway,
Does Leonardo wear a codpiece?
Sure.
Okay.
Anyway,
It goes with his fashion.
take a good look at this art because it's about to go away.
Buy art.
Buy art. Bloop, bloop.
Hi, Starlight. We'll meet you, maybe.
And this is the land of Thither.
So before we start, I have notes that I wrote down here that just say to do.
Yeah, you had questions, and I told you to ask me when we're live because I don't know the answers right now.
Yeah, well, we're live. Do you know the answers?
What are the questions? I don't remember what your questions were.
No, I'm just being silly. So I wrote down what was the magic helmet and who took it.
Who took it is between y'all, but the magic helmet was a. I didn't realize anybody took the magic helmet because if y'all had, y'all would have rolled initiative.
Oh.
I would assume that
was
we
the
would have
thing.
taken it just because we knew it was magic.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we were also. We'll just pretend like you guys fought an animated armor.
Oh,
Is that
Okay,
fair?
Yeah. We're going to
Sure.
mention it constantly now.
Yeah.
After every battle. Like, that was almost as bad as that time we fought the animated armor.
Right? And then I have, what was the magic thread that Leonardo took from the shadow in Bev Lorna's attic?
You don't know.
Okay.
It does say it is very high quality thread that's magical, but you don't know why the shadow wanted it or whatever. It was
Well,
trying to do.
those are fruitful questions.
Fruitful questions. I will tell you what the helmet is. I'm just trying to find it.
I thought you just told us it's animated armor.
No, the helmet is not animated armor. It's just if you try to take it off the armor, the armor it comes to life and attacks you. Like not the helmet. Like there's like a dummy that the helmet's on.
Question.
What?
Is there a single 5th edition adventure path that doesn't have a suit of armor that attacks you?
No.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like there must be one in every single adventure path.
It's like your introduction to mimics.
Let me see. Where is it? Pavlorna's Horde.
It just can't eat you.
Bartender told a funny story. The party laughed. The bartender laughed. The table laughed.
Yep. You guys got the. You guys opened the note. You got the note that Scabatha forgets the first creature she sees when she wakes up.
Yeah.
Yep.
A wooden mannequin wears a helm of telepathy. If the helm is removed from the mannequin animates and tries to get the helm back by attacking whoever has it. The mannequin uses the animated armor stat block.
Man, that fight was rough.
So it is a helm of telepathy.
Unquestioningly, Belshan was the standout of that fight. Heroically saving all of our lives. Even without pants, he still managed.
listen, it's
I
very
remember
important.
he was still very, very big, and he just grabbed that helmet off and just tossed the mannequin out the window.
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
Anyway,
I am able to be big, yeah.
just big. Big. Let's see. Where is
He was the size of 4 Turvums, and that's huge.
Should we take the benefits of a long rest?
Yeah, I told you you could take. Basically, you're going to get a rest in between each. You just go. You don't even have to ask. You can just take a rest in between each of the areas.
I will never take a long rest without asking, ever.
Yeah, that's
I did tell you that you were
Dangerous.
going to get one at the end of.
Yes, and I was confirming that you had.
Yes. Yes.
But no, I'm not going to set a precedent of I'm just going to take a long rest without asking for one.
Listen, I'm trying to bring very bad habits back into Flumph, just to set precedents.
Ever
like-
spends a part of his long rest with Leonardo's notebook, writing just random stuff until Leonardo finally takes it back because of all the nonsense I'm putting in.
40 pages are taken up with just signing his name in different ways.
Oh, I mean, at least we can read it now.
I'm trying to make the Ballad of Turvum.
I
As
really
you
like
guys-
your fanfic.
it's a slash fic between like Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
Oh, I don't like your fanfic. Sorry.
As you guys are flying on the swamp gas balloon, being piloted by Mogart, the Bullywug Knight, and guided by Clapperclaw, the skeleton with his fantastic, amazing stag head instead of the gourd. The mists part to reveal a primeval forest. A fragrant breeze wafts between the enormous trees, sending motes of pollen dancing in the air. Patches of sunlight kiss the forest floor, and the sweet melody of birdsong echoes all around. So, essentially, where is it? You come across the mists over here, and they land somewhere in this area, in a clearing.
Who is Nib?
You'll find out in a minute.
Okay.
Hold your horses. So as you land in the balloon, Mogart and Clapperclaw tell you that they will wait in the area in case you need a ride back to Hither for some reason. There will be no going back to Hither.
Okay.
But in the actual game, you can go back and forth and finish business if we weren't speedrunning the adventure.
My
So,
question
you
is, why does their icon for the number 5 in scale a 6-pointed star?
Because the enemies in this adventure are hags, and hags are all about stealing small happinesses from people.
Ah. You know what? That's a great explanation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, like, first of all, 1, 2, 3, 3, 6.
Yeah.
That's how maths normally work, though. You assign random numbers and then you scramble them.
Yeah, it's the electron cloud, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, it's quantum mechanics.
Are these NFTs?
So as you land in the area, you see off in the distance a cave. Cozy torchlight radiates from the cave in this wooded hillside. 20 feet from the cave entrance, you see a tree with a weathered sheet of parchment nailed to its trunk.
Now, Turvum never had any difficulty reading,
Correct.
only writing.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Belshan, as soon as you passed over the mist, you immediately recognize that your missing item is in this realm.
Yay!
Nobody else gets that sense. Of course, the other two of you know where your
Right.
you know where your missing item is.
Yeah.
And-
Not enough mountains.
We're going to read the note that's been hung up here.
Okay, I need you to roll me a d8. Because as you approach it, you notice it's a wanted poster, but the text on the bottom is shifting. And I just need to know what it lands on.
5. Or I'm sorry,
5.
6, because 5 is 6 in here.
Okay. 5. The says, deliver this rascal alive and unharmed. As payment, I offer you the power to bring the dead back to life.
That's not what
And
it
again,
says.
I know, I understand. Like,
Okay.
I understand that's not what the picture says, but as you approach, the text on it fades in and out until you get to a distance where you can read it properly, and then it kind of hangs in. So that's what the That's what you. It says, "Deliver this rascal alive and unharmed, and as payment, I offer you the power to bring the dead back to life."
Is it still a picture of Afro
Yes,
Princess?
yes. So it's will of the. It says will of the Feywild.
Is that the person's name? Will of
Yes.
the Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wanted will of the Feywild.
That's a confusing
Special
name.
offer by Granny Nightshade.
Is Granny Nightshade a hag?
Yes. You recognize that when you approach it, you instinctively know that to collect, if you were to capture Will of the Feywild for Granny Nightshade, and then to collect the reward promised you, you would have to give her this wanted poster.
I don't think I want to turn anybody over to a hag.
Yeah, I'm very disinclined to acquiesce to their demands.
So, okay.
Perhaps going and finding Will of the Nightshade though may.
Will of the Feywild.
Leonardo.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Sorry. Leonardo suggests just taking the poster so that nobody else can see it.
Can you like draw a different picture on the poster?
Sure.
Like make Will of the Feywild look really different?
Yeah, I'll paint
like
over his
that,
picture.
That rabbit bandit, because my notes actually didn't get saved in between the two sessions, so I don't have his name.
That would be fantastic if I could make it look like that rabbit.
The rabbit's name
Angdon
was
Longscarf.
Agdon Longscarf.
The
Yes.
worst
Yes,
stat
use him.
block in the Feywild.
I thought about making him more powerful because, like, surely like 4 characters, and then like the fight started, and I was like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't make him more powerful.
Right?
Yeah,
I understand
we
why
got
he
dunked on.
I understand why he only has like 35 HP.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and paint that rabbit bastard over.
Okay. Make me a dexterity painter's tool check.
Oh, my favorite check. Oh no. I'm gonna use my amulet of the or my talisman to make that better. Yay. It's still 13.
Okay, you paint a reasonable likeness of Agdon Longscarf. You just like white out the name Will of the Feywild, write Agdon Longscarf, and then paint the rabbit with the blue scarf on there. So you do that, and now the wanted poster has Agdon Longscarf's likeness on it.
I'd like to go back to the balloon and say we'd like to go back and capture this rabbit now that we're 2 levels higher than we were.
Someone take the poster to what's his name? Clapperclaw, and then just say, "Hey, can you go hang this back in like Thither?"
I would like to actually ask Clapperclaw if there are special rules to Thither that were not in the previous realm that he knows
No,
of.
the same rules apply across the entirety of Prismere. The only rule that I might have glossed over or forgot to mention is that children cannot be harmed in Prismere, like directly harmed. You could do like all the psychological harm you want, but like if you attack a child, like with the intent to physically abuse or harm them, they get enveloped in like a soap bubble and they disappear.
So what you're saying is this is an RPG made after like 1999.
I don't get that reference. We're gonna continue on. So anyway, there's a cave nearby.
We should definitely go inside.
Okay. Inside the cave, a wizened old man wearing a blindfold sits at a spinning wheel, surrounded by piles of gold. We're talking hundreds of thousands of gold pieces. As he spins, he reaches down and grasps handfuls of these coins, which transform at his touch into gleaming gold fibers.
Does he seem
As you-
distressed at this transformation?
He looks. Roll me a insight check.
Dice are in the wrong spot.
Leonardo, if you have your magic vision on, you see that all of the gold in the. I'm just going to assume you always have magic vision on.
Yeah, it's always on.
The gold radiates a strong aura of conjuration magic.
That's an 18 on insight.
Do I get the impression that the coins are just? I mean, they're summoned, obviously, but
No, they seem solid enough, but they have conjuration magic on it. So, he looks contrite, I guess. Is that the right word?
content?
No,
No.
contrite. That's the right word.
It's not the emotion I was expecting.
Feeling or expressing remorse or penitence, affected by guilt. Yes, that is the correct word. I know English.
Use your words.
Hearing as you guys approach, if you're not trying to be stealthy going in there, the older gentleman will call out to you, and then ask you who you are, who's coming to visit Nib.
Leonardo will introduce himself and gesture to his party.
And I am Turvum Kilk.
Yeah, introduce ourselves.
Name is Belshan.
He says, "Well, as you are guests in my home, I must give you a gift." And he offers to craft each of you a gift out of the gold thread.
Goodness, I don't know what I would add to my attire, but could you craft something that would look good on me?
Yes, he can actually. Roll me a 2, 3.
And you know what? I'm going to offer him the magic thread that I had and say, would this help you, or do you know anything about it?
He shakes. First of all, he's blindfolded. He can't see you. He's blind. He's blinded while he's
That's
got the
right.
blindfold on. He will lift up the blindfold briefly to look at like what you're offering him, and then he'll shake his head no and inform you that he's got all the thread he needs right here.
What am I rolling? Sorry.
Roll a d4. You're requesting a piece of.
I already have a D4. There we
You're
go.
requesting a piece of clothing. To...
Sure. 3.
So, okay. Is anybody else accepting a gift from this man?
It would be rude not to.
Yes,
that
it would
was,
be rude.
Yeah,
not to.
where I was going with this.
Okay, everybody else roll a d8. You rolled a 3.
I have a 3, yeah.
3. That's not bad.
I also have a 3. Or, I'm sorry, a 0.
What?
3 is 0 here.
Oh, man, I forgot all about that.
Oh.
I rolled oranges. What does that mean?
Okay.
Turvum rolled a
Donkey
1.
Kong. How did that happen?
You rolled a
That's
what?
a 1.
1.
1? Okay. All right. McDohl, you rolled second, so you re-roll. It's gonna give all of you a different gift.
7.
All right. So we'll start with the remember your number and then like, remind me as I get to you. Leonardo, he starts spinning for you because you asked for specifically for an item of clothing. So I gave you like a smaller list here, and he gives you a golden, like it's made out of gold thread, gold trim. It's just very bright golden, but he gives you a cloak of protection.
Wow.
Leonardo thinks it's the most beautiful thing he's ever laid eyes on.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
literally it's a magnificent cloak. McDohl, you rolled a 7,
I did.
so he is on this weaving wheel, and he fashions magically these gold coins and into this golden thread, and then produces a wand of all things from his will, and he hands it to you, and you have a wand of secrets.
Sweet.
Brickroad, you rolled a 3, right?
I did roll a 3.
When Nib proceeds to weave you a fine pair of boots, and you have a pair of boots of elven kind. And Turvum, in a similar, like, odd situation to what Belshan's gift was, the weaving wheel produces an amulet. And you have an amulet of proof against detection and location. And if any, let me get this up. So Elvenkind, protection, wand of secrets. Does anybody need the stat blocks and things for these?
The viewers might.
Okay. I'll start with the amulet of proof against detection and location. It is a uncommon magic item that requires attunement. While wearing this amulet, you are hidden from divination magic. You can't be targeted by such magic or perceived through magic scrying sensors. The Boots of Elvenkind, the magic item that got a wizard killed in 2 campaigns ago. While you are wearing these boots, your steps make no sound, regardless of the surface you are moving across. You also have advantage on dexterity stealth checks that rely on moving silently. The Cloak of Protection also requires attunement. You gain a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws while you wear the cloak. And the Wand of Secrets has 3 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend 1 charge. And if a secret door or trap is within 30 feet of you, the wand pulses and points to the one nearest to you. It gains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn.
Sweet. Super
Uh,
rad.
all of you have a passive perception of like higher than 11, right?
No,
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
no.
I need. Well, I don't need anything from you. While he was working, those of you that do have a passive perception of higher saw apparitions lurking behind him as he worked. Like you're small, like almost like peasants. They look like peasants and downtrodden people, small children, and the entire time they're just wordlessly, like you could see them like wordlessly like belittling him, poking him in the ribs, and crying. You saw like a long-faced woman dabbing at tears. You saw like a rail thin like waif of a child wearing an eye patch, like poking him viciously in the ribs. And just as quick as a candle's flicker, one apparition would vanish, another would appear. And this happened the entire time he was working to make your gifts.
It's like Santa's
Leonardo-
workshop, except violent.
Leonardo's gonna paint something or sketch something quickly in his book that he can offer as thanks. But he doesn't notice these figures, so he draws the man happy.
Nib will take anything that you offer him and thank you, but he is actually not looking for any kind of reciprocity because he is crafting these items as penance.
Penance. Oh,
But
Is
these are
that-
wonderful. Oh, go. Sorry.
I was just gonna inquire about his penance, which is a little nosy, but like, hey, it's a
Yeah, a
conversation.
little bit.
He lets out a deep breath and says, "I've led a cruel and heartless existence. And he gestures around the room and he says, I've earned these riches by exploiting my tenants' misery in the great city where I'm from, buying up condemned properties and renting it out for exorbitant fees. He's a slumlord. Granny Nightshade is helping me to make amends. I told her I wanted to put my bad deeds behind me and my ill-gotten gains to good use. She cursed me to dwell forever in this cave, spinning my gold into useful items for anybody who comes my way." And then at the mention, if anybody mentions does anybody mention the apparitions or anything like that?
I feel like that would be rude to point out that he's got a bunch of ghosts, and also he kind of just explained what they were anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Does anybody get the curse there? He wants to put his bad deeds behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make deals with hags.
I wasn't gonna.
I know. As you guys are wandering around, do any of you Nib will warn you not to take any of his gold lest you get cursed. He tells you the gold in his cave is cursed. And that's where the aura of conjuration magic is. Like, he freely offers
Okay.
this information.
I shan't. Then wasn't planning on it, but
Right. And when I say
thanks
there's a
all the
lot
same
of
for the warning.
gold here, there's a lot of gold here.
We're talking
There's
about like Smaug.
there's like 190,000 something gold pieces in this cave.
That's like a
Like-
middling sized pile, I think.
That's
Like that's nothing for Zook, man. That's like a day and a half for Zook.
Day and a half. Day and 3/4.
That's like 10% of Scrooge's money bin, maybe.
Like,
But how
as-
swimmable is the gold?
not at all.
Not, right?
So, Nib will actually ask you like what your business here is in Thither.
So our business is to. Scabatha is in Thither, right?
Yes, Scabatha
Yeah.
Nightshade, also known as Granny Nightshade.
So I motion to Belshan and tell Nib that Scabatha has stolen Belshan's binky, and we are trying to get it back.
And he
Elshon flushes with embarrassment.
And I'll take a quick moment to describe what happened to him the 7 or 8 years ago about how he had snuck into what is called the Witchlight Carnival, and through information we've gained now that people who sneak in, the hags, can freely take something of those who sneak in as payment.
and
And-
Nib will listen to your explanation with rapt attention, and then he thinks for a moment, and he tells you that when he first came to this realm to seek, he came here seeking atonement, and he figured like speaking to like a powerful being like Granny Nightshade would be maybe she could help him do this, and it didn't turn out that well for him, but he thinks you get the sense that he feels like he deserves like this kind of punishment, and that at the end of it he will come out a better person. That's like his general stance on this. He tells you that that Scabatha, the Granny Nightshade, is in Loomlurch, and that he has visited. There's a goblin candy market there. Granny Nightshade has a parlor that she takes that she sees visitors in, and then there's a workshop where she uses workers to make toys. If you press him for more information on Granny Nightshade, You know what? He's just going to offer this. He says, because he kind of feels that you're here unfairly. Like, he's here of his kind of own volition. He came here to be punished by the hag. And he tells you that Granny Nightshade herself has a key protruding from her back, and it kind of indicates her mood by how fast it turns. When she's happy, the key turns quickly. When she's up, it slows down. If she loses her temper, the key stops and she goes into basically a berserk rage.
Stressing.
And that he also tells you that the workers who work in Granny Nightshade's shop are children that Granny Nightshade has either kidnapped or gathered up from the various locations of Prismere, and she has basically trapped them in the workshop and forces them to make toys.
So, I have a thought. If we go in there and just start slapping children, they'll all start vanishing in soap bubbles, right? Floating away from Granny Nightshade?
Yes, actually.
Presumably to safety?
Presumably to safety.
It is our moral obligation to slap as many children as possible.
But the toys that she makes are incredibly creepy, like nightmare-inducing toys that she then delivers on the back of her flying rocking horse to other planes of existence to give children nightmares.
Ah, is no fun, is no Blinsky.
Don't I have like a marionette of that sort that fits that description?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Granny Nightshade is also obsessed with capturing Will of the Feywild, a boy who helped a handful of younger children escape from Loon Lurch. Will of the Feywild's motley group of rascals is known as the Getaway Gang. The gang is protected by a treant named Little Oak, and while he can't leave the cave, he does point you. He does point you to a path that will often lead to where Little Oak is, in the direction of Little Oak's favorite glade, and its most often stopped spot. And he does recommend you actually go to Little Oak.
Well, if Nip thinks that he owes Granny Nightshade for allowing him to do penance here, why wouldn't he just help her collect Will of the Feywild?
He can't leave his cave.
Right, but apparently he knows where this kid is. Why not pass that information along?
He can't leave his cave.
Oh, she never comes here?
No.
I have another question for Nib.
Sure.
Like, thank you very much for the very nice boots. How does me owning these boots help any of the tenants that you cheated?
He is making penance by gifting his ill-gotten gains to people who might use them. Basically, he's giving away all his money.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that penance would involve righting the wrongs that you committed. And just gifting your money away isn't actually doing that.
I asked Nip how long he's been here.
He doesn't know. But, like, the short answer is he can't go back and right the wrongs because he was run out of Waterdeep.
Wow.
Damn.
That takes a lot to get run out of Waterdeep, right?
Yeah, there's some really gross shit that goes on in water. If you get run out of Waterdeep, holy crap.
The bar is below the ground.
Yeah, there's a bar there just as a hole into the dungeons of the earth.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
he
we met the
he's-
guy who's too bad for Waterdeep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he is a slumlord who bought up all of the condemned and low rent buildings in the city, and then jacked up the rent prices and caused a bunch of people to die from exposure because they couldn't afford his rent prices.
He has all of the corruption tokens.
Yes, exactly.
there you go.
And then, like, fearing, growing a sense of conscience, he gathered up all his gold and came to the Feywild to seek somebody to, like, I guess he was, like, expecting, like, some kind of, like, like Hercules' 12 labors, but instead of like a king or whoever gave Hercules the labors, he found a hag. So he basically got what he deserved.
Yeah, I'm
Eric,
just,
Dumbass on him, I guess.
I don't
Aaron,
think.
to return to your point, it is getting kicked out of Waterdeep require you to play Lords of Waterdeep and end the game with a negative score? Is that the standard we're going for?
Hard. That's really hard to get
Right?
negative score in
Get a
Waterdeep.
negative score.
I mean, you probably could because you don't necessarily have to complete quests, but
Yeah, it's true.
I'm just going to belabor this point that nothing Nib is doing now is helping preserve the lives of the disadvantaged currently in Waterdeep. Surely, if he couldn't help the people he's already cheated because they died of exposure, he could at least use his gold to help the people who were still there in need, instead of coming to the Feywild and making nice boots.
well, he can't leave the cave unless we were to somehow convince Granny Nightshade to at least lessen the curse on him.
Anyway, that is outside the scope of this adventure.
But let that be a
Fair
lesson to you.
Don't be a slumlord.
Or else you'll have to make magic items and give them away.
Oh
the
man.
proliferation of Waterdeep gentrification is not within the scope of this adventure. But we got some nice boots out of it, so that's nice.
That campaign is left as an exercise to the reader.
I'm glad I got this amulet of proof against detection and location, considering I roll disadvantage on stealth checks and have a dex of 8.
Does he mention at all, at any point, does he ever mention a goblin with pants on his head?
I think Pantaloons also probably got run out of Waterdeep.
There was an explosion. It involved some mushrooms, and then like Alton probably died, and Pantaloons had to flee the city.
Oh, the wind blew all the spores into this just like tenement next door where the landlord was charging way too much for rent.
Yeah.
Good job, Alton. Good job.
Anyway, I thank Nib for the gift and the information, and
Likewise.
despite him not looking for a gift of his own, I would ask him if there is anything he would like for us to do or look into while we are out looking for Will of the Feywild.
He tells you that he is not looking for any reciprocity. The gifts are merely his atonement. And he relieves you of any
Responsibility.
any responsibility to reciprocate.
I mean, I don't want to give this guy anything anyway.
I mean, I've already given him his sketch. He looks strangely happy though, and it feels a little bit inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
And you don't have any more pages to draw another one because I've put all of my scribbles in there.
Oh, I just write on the back.
So you guys have gotten a path to Little Oak.
I like how you've ruined this map with your weird line.
Oh, it's fine now.
So we're not actually going to turn this Peter Pan kid in to Captain Hook, are we?
Oh, goodness.
Clearly not.
I have no intention of turning him into the hag because, yeah.
I mean, we already have Exhibit A on how well that goes.
Right.
Do we tune to these items as we go, or do we have to short rest for that?
Let me see. I forget if the attunement requires. I forget if it requires a long rest or
Requires a
you can
short
do it on a.
rest, typically.
It's like an
Short
hour, right?
Yeah, you could take a short rest and then attune to the items if you need to.
The boots
I gotta
don't
figure out how to
require
do
attunement.
that in here.
Mine do not either.
Yeah.
I do have a helmet telepathy.
Choose an item. There are no items.
So while you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to read the
Oh, there we go.
introduction to Little Oak. As you wander along the path, I'm assuming you kind of just follow this river to most of the way. And as you follow the path, up ahead, a small group... You come into a clearing. and then up ahead in the clearing, a small group of children frolic around a leafy oak tree. Their gleeful yelps carrying through the forest. Painted swings dangle from the tree's branches. Nestled in its crown is a ramshackle treehouse. You can see the little treehouse there and the little swings. It's adorable. Anyway, as you approach, the children scamper up. They see you coming because there's only one of you that's quiet. And that's because she's wearing magic boots. The children scamper up the ladders and take cover in the treehouse. And as you get close to the treehouse, you see a familiar afroed child stick his head out and yell, "Stand down or face merry hell."
I ask, who's Mary Hell?
Will of the Feywild says, "We are," and then like the tree stands up and it's a actual like giant treant and it starts flexing at you.
That's definitely not OSHA compliant.
Hey,
Leonardo looks at his sketchbook and then looks at Will and says, "Huh. That wanted poster does look awful lot like you. I'm glad I changed
Just
that."
beat all.
So Will of the Feywild appears to be a spindly 11-year-old boy
With an afro.
with a very like an untamed mane of hair.
you must be Will. We're not after you. We're here to talk to you. We want to take something back from that evil Granny Nightshade.
Will kind of looks at you, takes an appraising gaze, and I need everybody to give me an insight check.
It's a 14.
14.
15.
All right.
7.
14.
14. So the rest of you get like a brief moment of like, yeah, this kid's sizing this up. Leonardo, you get that feeling too, but you also sense something underneath the child that maybe there's more to this child than just a child. But after like a brief moment, Will like waves you, like motions towards the ladder that is built into the side of Little Oak. Little Oak is the name of the tree, by the way. And he motions you to climb up and come into the treehouse.
How many children are there?
Currently there's 4.
4 children, including Will?
It's Will and then the 3 other children.
Okay.
Ask them how long it's been since they've had a properly cooked meal.
They kind of shrug at you and say they do all right. The candy canes and gumdrops and things that grow in the forest are filling enough.
Wow, all of these children are going to die of diabetes.
So as you go into the Little Oaks treehouse, the floor of the treehouse is covered with blankets, cushions, piles of straw. Hanging from the 6-foot-high ceiling by a rope is a basket that holds apples, berries, sugar cane, and a few crumpled up sheets of parchment. In one corner, lying on a cushion, is a rusty oil can that looks out of place. Heaped into another corner is a crude unicorn costume made of polka dot quilts and a wooden horse's head that has a wooden horn attached to it.
Adorable.
The Getaway Gang introduced themselves as, well, Will of the Feywild, the gang's leader, Bobby, a boisterous male dwarf growing his first whiskers, Sloane, a sarcastic ginger-haired female wood elf, and Zenor, a tenacious female orc. And these are all children, at least physically children. They do have the air of being a lot older than they appear. kind of like a Peter Pan situation, maybe. But they physically appear to be about 8 years old or so.
I don't know
I mean,
how
I'll look at you.
elven aging works.
Can I get those names again? Sorry.
Let's see. That is Will of the Feywild, Bobby, the male dwarf, Sloane, the female wood elf, and Zenor, the female orc.
I ask if all of them can read and write.
They shrug at you.
They don't know the state of education in the Feywild.
Certainly lacking.
Will ask you why you have come to their hideout.
Well, it seems to me that you're not eating well and you're not receiving a proper education, and someone's going to have to see to that.
And I give Mrs. Fitzbiggins the look. It's like, the really? And then I talk over her and say that we were pointed out to meet with you by a man named Nib, and we noticed your wanted poster, and we figured that a enemy of Granny Nightshade was a friend of ours.
And they go, and Will says, I see. You want to get something from Loomlurch. He goes, do you have a plan? He goes,
Not as of yet.
he looks at you, and again, he's got this appraising look that is definitely like doesn't belong on the face of an 11-year-old.
Leonardo is writing notes in his book, and he kind of snaps it close, and he says, well, I thought about it on the way over here. She obviously wants to capture you so she can put you to work in her toy mill. So perhaps part of our plan could involve saving those children as a form of a distraction.
And he says, exactly. I have a plan for that. And he gets real excited. In addition to that, like all the children start speaking at once. And you guys are able to pick out the following information as like the children kind of like go over themselves and each other to tell you information about Loomlurch.
Well, screw that. I'm going to use my teacher voice and make them talk one at a time.
Is that
okay,
a class skill?
they all make a persuasion check at advantage because you're a school marm.
I need another dice. No, that's... I can't move the table really fast while holding a die because it falls. That's a 15.
It's a 15.
Mm-hmm.
They all sit up straight, and at one at a time, you learn the following information.
All right.
A squad of 10 soldiers defend Loomlurch, but they're very easily lured away by almost any kind of distraction. The children being held captive in the workshop are haunted by boggles, oily creatures that sprout from the children's misery. And Granny Nightshade imprisons her most hated enemies in a cell inside the kitchen.
I missed one of those. Hold on. Granny.
So the children are haunted by boggles.
Right?
That was what I missed.
Yeah,
The 10 soldiers, the 10 soldiers defend Loomlurch, and but they're easily lured away by distractions. And Granny Nightshade puts the people she don't like in her kitchen jail.
Got it. Thank you.
So create a distraction, lure the soldiers away, sneak into the kitchen, and release the prisoners there. Do they know how many prisoners?
Were we locked in the kitchen jail?
We were.
Maybe
were locked.
that Bavlorna shares a lot of commonalities with her sister.
There is a number of children. There are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 children being held captive in Loomlurch, and Will of the Feywild wants to rescue them all. And he has a plan to do that. While like Will of the Wild starts telling you he has this amazing plan, a small kitten comes up and starts like cutely playing in front of like everybody. And it is a small displacer beast kitten.
I had to look up the name of this kitten.
The kitten's name
That's Starlight?
is Star.
Starlight.
It's just Star.
Oh.
And the kitten can't speak, doesn't, do anything. It's just getting up, playing, doing cute kitten things.
How much experience
is there-
it worth?
How much experience is it worth? It is a CR 1/8 monster, so 25 experience.
Is
think
there
about it.
an object that looks like a ball nearby?
You guys were given or you should have been given.
Oh, well,
The-
whoever has that, yeah.
So if you pull the mirror ball out that was entrusted to you by
Belshan?
the Elder Displacer Beast, Star will like hop up and start immediately like jumping around in joy. Again, this Displacer Beast kitten cannot speak, but you can tell that they do recognize the ball.
Also, it appears to be cross-eyed.
It doesn't appear to have pupils.
I'm
Just
not
got
getting.
yellow.
I'm not getting cute from this thing. This thing is horrifying.
It's pretty.
It's
pretty interesting.
a baby monstrosity.
It
It's
has-
not supposed to be cute.
It has a rat tail. You described it as being cute.
All small creatures are cute, except human children.
It's confusingly cute.
Leonardo will ask Will, is this your Displacer Beast?
He says that he found Star. Star was one of the children that he rescued from Loomlurch, and that he has been taking care of him ever since. And that he's a fine pet.
Well, we were.
We might know who his parents are.
Father, at least?
He goes, listening to you talk about Dialgrim, Will looks a little sad, but says that he will return Star to his parents, but only if you help him free the remaining children trapped in Loomlurch.
That sounds like blackmail.
That actually helps us because we don't know how to get back to the Witchlight Carnival.
By all means.
So delegate.
Yeah, this sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's totally fine.
So, Little Oak. So, Will of the Feywild has conceived a daring plan, as he describes it, to free the children being held prisoner in Loomlurch, which he shares with you with much enthusiasm.